Hi, and welcome to Moments with God, where I get to share my God stories with you. It's been a while since I've posted. I know I've kind of dropped off. Things got crazy, so I just want to give you an update on my life, kind of where God is speaking to me now in the moment and what's been going on. Actually, a lot has happened since I posted last. Life is completely different. And I thought COVID changed things. Since then, on top of COVID, we have a war going on in Ukraine, in the country that my parents were born and my whole family's from. It's where my history is. And I was born in Estonia, grew up in America, so I don't relate to Ukraine as much as my parents do. I've actually only been there to visit my grandparents when I was little. I've never been back. I wanted to go back, but now that's complicated. So there's a war in Ukraine right now, and I'm in the room where we actually just hosted a family for 3 weeks. Well, the interesting part is they were from the same neighborhood my father grew up in. So that was quite cool to get that connection and to see who knows them, because there's a guy from our church who personally knows them. So that was pretty cool. And they're gone now. They actually just left on Wednesday and today's Friday. I do miss the good moments that came with that, and there are challenges just like with everything. Aside from that, one reason why I stopped posting, I'm actually going to give you my excuses, is because I was going to school and I had all this time on the train. I would go earlier and there was this slow train that would take me to school, and then I would walk to school, and I would have all that time with God to just sit in his presence, to do my Bible study, to see what he's saying. It took like 2 hours to get from my house to my school where I work at in Trenova, and that time was all spent in God's presence. It was beautiful. But once COVID hit, I'm not sure I'm saying this correct, Omicron, once that hit, things changed. The train that I used to take got canceled. It stopped showing up. There were some very stressful moments as I was figuring this out. So now I take a faster train called the Discerning. That train from door to school literally only takes me an hour. And I also take my son's scooter to work. So I'm scooting to work now versus walking, and that literally cuts an hour from my commute time. But then also it cuts into my time with God. So I no longer have this saturated time to spend with the Holy Spirit. Instead, it's do my prayer quickly and scoot to work. You know, I also talk to Petronella while I'm on the train sometimes, which is nice. But I've lost that 2 hours that I would slowly spend in God's presence, and I have to find new ways to replace that time so that my relationship with God doesn't get hindered. So that's why I actually kind of stopped posting also, because I didn't have enough time to ask him what's next. What did he want to do? And one promise that I made is I wouldn't just run with this blog. I wouldn't vlog or this channel. I wouldn't make it my own. I wouldn't make it flesh-centered, but I would make it God-centered, to kind of do and say what he wants me to do and say and record, for me not to get caught up in this YouTube world. It's kind of very worldly and very self-based. There is no God, no Jesus in it. So I'm trying to stay with God in this. So that was the other reason why I stopped posting. The other reason is because technically it's hard in ways where I have to battle with myself, because I'm recording the same thing. It's the same cup of coffee, it's flowers. That's what I'm interested in. That's what I love. That's where I see God in it for me. But it was really hard because I was really fighting self-doubt, and I still am to this day. I think that's just something I'll have to continually to give to Jesus, to surrender, to ask him to help me. And it also gives me an opportunity to really walk with God, to really give this to him, because if I'm like, no, I got this, then why do I need to go to God, right? So I really do need to go to God, because there is self-doubt and I don't think I can do it. And I think I have nothing to offer, nothing to say. So when I go to God, he affirms me. But then when I don't go to God regarding this, I do what I did this past couple of months. I stop recording. I stop sharing. And I let a lot of those things that God is speaking to me and working in me go, without really sharing how he does it, why he does it, and where I'm at. So that leaves me to this part. What is God doing in my life currently? Well, with the Ukrainians here the past 3 days, I've learned a few things about myself. And they're not very pretty things. Like, I have judging issues, and I have pride issues, and I have other issues, just like we all do in different areas of our lives, in different degrees. So I've made sure, or I want to make sure, that I invite Jesus into my sin. And I go, okay, Jesus, here's my sin. Work in me. I give you the room and the ability to speak, to change me, to show me, to guide me, to lead me, so that my heart changes. Because honestly, I don't want to walk around judging people. I want to make sure to give them grace and room to grow at their own pace, and to love them the way that they need to be loved, the way that I know God, our Father, loves them and wants me to love them. So that is where I'm at right now, something I am praying through. Actually, I remember during the weekend, I think this was last weekend, I was really dealing with this, and I was sitting in this, kind of processing what the Holy Spirit revealed to me. And then the next day I was going to work, and I was listening to the book, Walking with God by Eldridge. If you haven't heard of it, I recommend this book so much. So hard. Read the book. It's life-changing when it comes to your relationship with Christ. But anyway, I was listening to it on audiobook, and the thing that he was talking about in that particular moment was judging. And I'm like, really? What are the odds that I was been dealing with this whole entire weekend? And that's exactly where I'm at in the book. Like, yes, the Bible, God speaks through it. But that's not the only thing God uses to speak to us. He uses many avenues to speak to us. Nature, our friends and family, books, creativity. I mean, laundry. Dude, God has spoken through laundry so much in my life. There's so many ways that God speaks to us if we are open, willing to hear, and willing to have him speak in the many ways that he speaks. Because God, we can't put God in a box, and a lot of times we do. So anyway, he spoke through me in this chapter. Not through me. He spoke to me in this chapter, and it was kind of cool to see that. And I'm like, wow, thank you. Thank you for being there with me, and for not just saying, hey, you have the sin, and then dropping me there. No, the Holy Spirit's leading me through this process. And I'm very, very grateful, very, very thankful. Another thing that I'm doing is I've picked up Discerning the Voice of God by Priscilla Shirer. I think that's how you say her last name. And I'm doing it with my friend. Oh, I love that study. Like, it is so life-giving, this particular study. I will link the book by John Eldridge, and I will link this Bible study I'm currently doing in the description box. So that's my update, and hopefully I will be back with more videos, more God-centered content. I know that next week I have it upon my heart to do Dear God, the spring version. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to share my spring with you. And we're going to Italy next week. Wow. Gosh, that was so fast. It's also almost Easter, so I just skipped out on all of that. But I'm back. We'll see how consistent I am. And thank you for listening to me. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being a part of this God journey with me. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Be blessed, be a blessing, and remember to invite Jesus into everything. Ciao. I made myself some fried rice after recording.